This is the Makeup Revolution 196 pan color spectrum pigment palette. I'm tired. We all like cheap things, but that really doesn't mean anything to me until I actually try the palette and get to know if it's actually good. We're gonna test it out, see if my little, oh, well, I just lost my train of thought, but it's a big palette. It's big.
When I look at this palette, I'm overwhelmed. I feel like there's so many options, I don't even know where to begin. I expect when I hear a pressed pigment for it to be just like, you like tap the littlest bit on your eye and it's gonna be like, bam.
We're obviously not gonna try out every single color, but we're gonna work in color groups. We're gonna be doing one eye with primer and one eye without, just to see how well it works with each base. We're gonna be testing how well it blends, and we also wanna see if that pigment is actually there with or without the primer. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I just know that it's gonna be blue and probably not good. So right off the bat, I'm noticing that there just aren't very many matte shades in this pigment palette. It's a whole lot of shimmers, whole lot. Slightly disappointing already. But you know what? We're gonna keep going. I honestly might switch colors. This is bad. Oh no, oh no, 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 I made the wrong choice. Okay. We're getting some Princess Jasmine vibes. I'm getting way less pigment than I did on the other eye. Like, I barely see it on my skin. It's a little patchy, but I'm honestly not hating it. I feel like so far so good. This eye can kick rocks. This looks terrible. I don't know what possessed me to go straight for these blues, but it's too late. Ooh, whoa. That's pretty good. It's very bright, much brighter than the first two colors I used, but it's still not packing the same amount of punch as this eye. Yeah, this is bad news. It's bad news bears. Without a primer, I'm having zero luck, I feel like. I'm gonna take this purple shade and put it on my lower lash line, which I've already prepped with some of that white concealer. I'm having a hard time getting the purple to show up, like, even with that white base on there. It's just not showing up at all. Yeah, it's blending away into absolutely nothing. Now I'm just gonna add a little inner corner shade. I laid down my white base again, very slightly. This pink is actually holding up pretty well on the bad side. I'm just gonna put everything else on, eyeliner, mascara, and we're gonna discuss. We're gonna talk about this.
Okay, I think I'm just gonna attempt like a pink-ish, red-ish thing. Look, when I'm looking for a really, really pigmented, like Instagram artist type of look, I go in with Shape Tape concealer and leave it wet and blend on top of that. So I'm gonna go into this mauvish, nudish color as my first sort of transition shade. Surprisingly enough, I am instantly seeing a decent amount of pigment. I did not expect that. Pleasantly surprised. I do think using this palette requires so much concentration because it's just really easy to lose your place in it. Like, look at all these like greens and blues, and then a lot of these, like this area too, like they just look so similar. So I think it's starting to look a lot patchier on this side, right in this section. I think more of like the coral-ish red in this shade is coming out on this side, versus this side is looking slightly more to the peach. There are some inconsistencies, which I guess isn't the most shocking, but I just like thought we started off on a high note. And now we're in a more confused place. I'm gonna go right in here. Lots of fallout. Oh my God, look at all that just landed on this palette. Can you see it? Okay, I do see the pigment showing up here. I'm starting to realize this is probably a palette you would want to use pre-concealer and foundation. That's actually really pretty. I think this is going in my inner corner nicely because it has like an actual really pretty sheen and it doesn't look like too charkly. I was gonna say chunky and sparkly. It's not too charkly. I don't think you can ever know what you're gonna get when you're dipping into a shade. The inconsistencies were everywhere. It was confusing. I've just never met as confusing and challenging of an eyeshadow palette as this one. The blendability of these eyeshadows did surprise me. I think the first few shades I dipped into and put into my crease blended out so beautifully. It wasn't until I got into kind of the darker colors where I noticed an issue with patchiness. There's a lot you can do with this. There are a lot of successful shades in here. And if you're willing to really like work with it and just be a little bit patient, I think you'll be happy with it.
I don't think that I'm blown away by the palette. I don't think like this is some incredible thing. But I will say I can see myself buying this and investing in it for my own use at home. Definitely not for travel. But using the right base and actually working to make this work is fine with me. Some people don't want to do too much work. I wouldn't mind it for pretty much every color I could ever imagine using. Figure out what products these shadows work best on, and I think you'll be good to go.